This video is about a controversial topic, namely, is the Earth shaped like a ball or is it flat? There will be absolutely no name calling or ridiculing in this video, so unlike most other videos on the topic, this video can be watched by both groups and both groups are likely to find something of interest. Take what you find interesting and leave the rest. At the end of the day, you can believe whatever you want to believe. And it's okay to be triggered, but if you leave comments, please refrain from name calling and instead perhaps say something along the line, I disagree because of this and that. We will examine some of the claims made by flat earthers. For some people, it's easy just to dismiss all flat earth claims, but some of their claims are actually true. Stay tuned and find out which ones. We will also conduct simple experiments that require no math or physics skills to verify if the Earth is flat or not. Some of the claims we will look at require some math to investigate. And in the spirit of complete openness, I will make a model of what I want to calculate and then use high school math to derive the needed equations myself. Now, wait. I realize that most people are not going to be interested in long, boring math calculations. So what I'll do is quickly show the model of what we are about to calculate and then briefly show the calculations on the screen. If it has any interest, you can pause and verify the equations. If you do find any mistakes or easier ways to do it, please leave them in the comments. But before we get started, let's take a look at what the overall flat Earth claim is. We have a flat Earth surrounded by an ice wall. The sun and moon are a few thousand miles above the disk and are much smaller than the mainstream science believes, around 30 to 50 miles in diameter. If we were to explain night and day, the lighting is probably more like this. But more on that later. Some believe there is a dome over the Earth. Let's turn on some more lights so we can see it better. It is believed that the Earth is completely stationary. It is neither spinning nor moving. The down direction is absolute and fixed. The idea that we could be living on a globe is crazy talk for a flat earther because people would fall down on the other side. Airplanes on a flat Earth would just fly straight if nothing is done at cruising altitude. If the same is done on a globe Earth, it is believed that the plane would fly straight into space. To avoid that, pilots would need to tip the nose of the airplane actively down to follow the curve. But that would make the airplane go vertical or even upside down, which is not what happens. So flat earthers find the idea of a globe impossible. It all depends on if you believe the down direction is fixed or not. Most flat earthers do not believe gravity exists or that space exists. But there you have it. We'll get back to why the map looks the way it does and many other issues later. If this is the first time you have heard of the flat earth theory, you will no doubt have lots of questions like, how does anyone come to believe such a thing? And to help explain this, I've made a hypothetical story of a young man called John, who becomes a flat earther. If you're a flat earther yourself, you can compare how you became a flat earther to the story of John. Here we have John. Don't be shy, say hi. John was like any other student in high school, but physics just didn't interest him. He was generally happy, but the low grades in physics tests affected his mood. He believed it was all mumbo-jumbo and made up. They can't even get their stories straight. In chemistry, the atom is drawn completely different than it is in physics class, and it's supposed to be the same atom. Who needs physics anyway? And John was right. Most jobs do not require physics knowledge. As John got older, he saw a world he did not understand. He saw politicians lie, corporations that didn't care about anything but profit. He saw governments lie about weapons of mass destruction and went into an illegal war, and when the lie was exposed, they just made it into a joke.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there. Maybe under here.
The trust was broken. John didn't trust anyone, be it teachers, politicians, corporations, or governments. They were all lying. Then one day, John found a YouTube with this man who told John he had been lied to, and John was eager to learn more. The man said the earth was flat, with a closed dome to keep the air in, and there was no curve. It was all a lie. The earth was supposedly spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, which is crazy, as people would fly off the earth. The man said it wasn't moving at all. It was a lot to take in for John, but it all made so much sense to him. He now felt he had finally figured out a big secret only a few people were aware of. And it felt good being one of the ones in the know. Now it seemed so obvious. How could anyone fall for the ball earth lie? In this section, we will address some of the realizations that John had in the previous section. The first thing to realize is just how gigantic the Earth is, and just how hard it is to see the curvature while on Earth. To illustrate this, I made a model of Earth in a free vector drawing program called Inkscape. I have made all objects to scale in kilometers. I have placed a model of the Empire State Building on the North Pole and colored it red for visibility, but you cannot see it at this zoom level. You can download this file yourself and verify that the dimensions are correct. Let's zoom in and see the building. At this point, we cannot zoom any further in Inkscape, but even at this distance, there is no curvature to be seen at all. In fact, we will have to zoom out quite a bit to detect any noticeable curvature. Around here is when we can start to detect the curvature, but look at how small the Empire State Building is at this point. The claim that the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour is actually true. Then why aren't we being flung out into space at those speeds? Well, the acceleration is given by these two equations. They give exactly the same result. I have left a link in the description for more details on circular motion. To get a feel for this equation, let's calculate an example first. Let's say a merry-go-round has a radius of 1 meter and a father spins this around every 2 seconds. How much acceleration would that generate? It would be about 1 g of acceleration, so the kids have to hold on tight. If we plug in the numbers for the Earth, it's only 0.3% of 1 g. This result might surprise some, but remember, the rotation time is 1 day. Imagine someone turning a merry-go-round once every 24 hours. It's not going to be the most thrilling ride. So in other words, gravity provides a much larger acceleration compared to the centrifugal force, so you stay on Earth. The Earth's gravity is weaker around the equator. This, in combination with the centrifugal force, enables you to detect a weight change as you move away from the equator. I've left a link to a person doing such an experiment. It is yet another way to determine that the Earth is a globe. Okay, let's have a look at why we cannot sense the speed of the Earth. We can't actually directly sense speed. We can only detect a change in speed or direction. As for speed itself, we either have to look out at the world rushing by or estimate it from the noise and vibrations that the engine makes, or tire noise or rumbling from train tracks. The problem with seeing stars rush by is that they are millions of miles away, and hence most of them most likely are standing still. From an airplane at a distance of just 10 kilometers, the ground seems to crawl along. Imagine how still it would be if you were 1 million miles away. Of course, the stars do move over time, and they move, if nothing else, because of the rotation of the Earth. But the movement is usually not fast enough to be perceivable with the human eye. If you take photos of the sky with a long exposure time, you can see star trails. Star trails are different depending on where you are on a ball Earth. If the stars on a flat Earth are projected on a screen, then how can it show stars spinning in a different direction or with a different pattern depending on where you are? That makes no sense. But it does make sense if you're standing on a ball looking in many different directions. So that's another experiment you can do. Record star trails on different locations on Earth and observe they're different, which they shouldn't be able to be on a flat Earth. Sound cannot propagate in space because there's no medium for the vibration to travel through. The gravity is the engine that makes the Earth move, but it doesn't make any noise or vibrations. This is why you hear nothing and sense no vibrations. It's okay, they've gone. You can come out now.